Good morning, Karette. Thank you for wanting to take part in this in conversation with me.
Good morning, Michael. I am looking forward to our discussion. It should be fun.
I think it will be.
Um,
Do you have anything else you want to say?
no,
No?
let's just, you
Let's just
know,
dive straight in. Cool.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Okay, so my name is Karette Trottman, and I operate an online business management VA agency. So, in simple terms, that's basically a outsourcing operational service. So, um, solopreneurs, small business owners, they come to us to provide them with operational support. So, what that means is that they're able to focus on more strategic activities, serving their clients, and we focus on all the admin and back-end business stuff. So, freeing up their time, providing them with additional expertise that they may not have in their business, or where they may have those expertise available, they may not have the time. It's not the best use of their time. And so we come in and we support them as their remote team. And also, in most cases, the individuals that we support, they tend not to be in a position to take on a employee. And so they can work with us for as long or as short as they would like, and based on what their needs are at that stage in business.
So, with all the experiences that you've had, what invited you to be in this business?
So, what made me decide to start this business? Well, my background is actually within the NHS. So I've always worked within an administrative capacity. So I'm used to supporting medical professionals, mental health professionals, primarily psychotherapists. So within my last role, I was the administration, well, my last 9 to 5 role. I haven't actually had a proper 9 to 5 since 2018 when I left. So yeah. Um, but yeah, so in my last role, I was actually the administration manager for the psychodynamic psychotherapy service, and I'd worked there for about 2 years. I'm not sure if you know this about me, Michael. Um,
Only a small amount, I think you did mention right when we began
at the
working together.
beginning,
Yeah, that you
okay,
had some experience supporting psychotherapists.
yeah, okay, yeah. So I did that for about 2 years, had a small team that I was managing. But essentially, there came a point whereby there was a lot of issues within the department. And so the administrative team essentially was malfunctioning. That wasn't a reflection on my ability to lead because I was the manager at the time. I think it was more long-standing issues that pre-existed me taking on that role. But in any case, whilst I was there, individuals started going off sick, and there was just a lot of contention in the team. Most of the individuals in the team that had been there over a decade, so they'd worked with each other for a very long time. They were all older than I was, and so, but yeah, so absence. There was a lot of um, absence happening, underperformance, and there came a point where I was pretty much doing the jobs of 3 persons. And it was at that point where I basically had a nervous breakdown and I was signed off work sick for about 2 weeks. And I was contemplating whether or not to go back to my job because I did love my job. I loved not necessarily my team, but the patients and supporting the clinical staff. And I know that they value the work and the contribution that I offered.
Hmm.
But when it was time to go back after the 2 weeks of being signed off sick, I essentially started as I drew near to the time to return to work. I essentially started waking up at night crying, like just really, like just being in tears. You would think that something had happened to me, but just the idea of going back to work terrified me. And that's when I realized I was actually having a breakdown. And so I handed in my notice the day before I was due to go back. And eventually I left. I left within 2 weeks of handing in my notice. The clinical team, so the head psychiatrists, etc., they, tried to convince me to stay, but I just couldn't. And so, yeah, I left. And at the time, I was working full time while studying at university full time. So I was doing my degree at the time. And so when I left, the plan was to just focus primarily on my degree whilst freelancing. So that was the plan. The plan was to freelance. I didn't actually know that the virtual assistant industry was an actual thing and that it had existed for years. At that time, I wasn't aware of it. My intention was purely to just work as a freelance PA because I knew that there was a lot of um, mental health professionals who had their private practice and could do with having a PA who weren't ready to employ anyone but just needed support. So I thought that would be difficult to find work. And then I stumbled upon this industry of virtual assistants and offshore outsourcing. And so yeah.
You mentioned you were studying at the time that you were working, and I'm wondering, where were you studying? What was the organization or
Okay,
university?
so I was undertaking my undergrad degree at the University of Greenwich, and my degree was in business management with human resource management. So yeah, I
You know,
did that for 4 years. I know that's where you went. Yeah.
I was just about to say it.
But
Just
I
about to
only
say it.
found that out. I don't know how I found that out. I must have been reading something. I'm not sure where, but that only came to my knowledge about a week ago. And I'm not sure where I saw it.
Incredible.
But I thought Michael studied at my uni, or maybe it's
I
your
did.
uni because you went there before me.
Maybe I did. Who knows? It's not important. What have been, would you say, your largest learning experiences working for yourself?
The peaks and troughs of business. So you will have moments where you've got loads of clients, interest, leads coming into your business, and then you have moments of just you can literally hear crickets, and it's like, oh my word, how am I going to pay all my business expenses as these to leave my bank accounts at the end of the month? So I would say, yeah, that's definitely a challenge, but you really learn to overcome. And when I say learn, I mean you learn how to market yourself effectively, you learn how to um, network, you learn how to, build your brand identity and things like that. And just how to make meaningful relationships so that you have that consistent flow and stream of potential clients expressing interest in your service. But I'd say that's definitely a thing. And even to today, I mean, it never changes, because you can't guarantee the life cycle of a client, even though the majority of our clients, our retainer clients, tend to stay for at least a year with us, but things can change um in the client circumstances. Sometimes our clients, they don't necessarily want to stop working with us, but it's just not financially feasible for them based on the stage of business they're at, which we understand.
And a number of questions I wanted to ask on top of that. Would you say that having a plan to your business is the best way that you've overcome some of the challenges you've faced?
Yeah, definitely. Having a strategy in place. I mean, you need a strategy. A business strategy essentially is to a roadmap for the goals that you have set in your business. And so it's important that as a small business that I'm always strategizing and looking at what my competition is doing, but also focusing mainly on what my unique selling point is. So in marketing, that's known as USP. So what makes me different? What makes the service that I provide different from all my competition? And really factoring that into my business planning, and most importantly, execution. There's no point planning, but then you don't execute, you don't implement, you know. And so having that accountability and having that self-discipline to implement and execute is really important.
I like how you. I
Michael, am
like.
I freezing?
No, you're not.
Okay.
What I was going to just ask now is, what then is Virtual Karette's VA services USP?
Oh my days, you put me on the spot. Okay, so as a team, we have a combination of over 25 years experience. We are a diverse team. So we're based in different parts of the world, which means that we can accommodate various time zones, which I find is important for clients, especially those who aren't based in the UK, which is where the business is based, because that's where I'm primarily based and I'm the founder of the business. And we have, a team of specialists, of experts. So we have areas of expertise. So we have, yes, skill sets covering general administrative, support. But then when it comes to things like automation, email marketing, setting up customer relationship management platforms, utilizing tools to help our companies, to help the businesses that we work with and the companies that we work with really streamline their operations. We're really good at that. And I think just also the personal touch. So for us, it's not, our approach towards business is not transactional in nature, it's relational. So it's about building that relationship, and we put a lot of emphasis on that. We want to know our clients because their business is just an extension of them, and really and truly the clients is the core of the business. And so we really spend a lot of time building that healthy intimacy with our clients, so that we're not just an entity that's providing them with support, but we become a partner in their success. And so I would say that one of our USPs is the fact that the intentionality that we have in really getting to know our clients in a way that's meaningful, so that we can journey with them in the way that they need us to.
That's excellent. I really like the fact that you highlighted that. That's my experience of working with you all. What advice would
Oh
you give?
no, Mike.
I'm
I can hear you. You're back.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone starting a business? Did you get
I
that?
think my internet is playing. Oh my
Okay.
word. Hold on, Michael.
All right.
Hold up.
What advice would you give to someone starting a business?
Invest in yourself. Invest in your knowledge. Okay, so actually, let me back up a bit. You may already have knowledge and expertise. So back up. You may already have the knowledge and expertise, right? So for example, you're a consultant. Whatever that area of consultancy is, it could be business consultancy, mental health and wellness consultancy, but you're a consultant. You have the knowledge, you have the skill set. It's a job that you have done in a 9 to 5 capacity for however long. But you want to make sure that you're investing in yourself, in that you're acquiring the skill set you need in order to build a business. So you can be the expert in what you know, in your field, in your industry, but running a business is something completely different and takes a whole nother level of skills and expertise. So I would say really invest in time in learning as much as you can about what it means to run a business. Yeah, so investing in your knowledge in that area. And I would say if you can, get a mentor or a business coach as soon as possible, who ideally is where you want to be, because what you're essentially doing is you're paying to get to where you want to get to in a shorter period of time. So that's what I would recommend.
That's really good advice. Really good advice. I like that aspect of having a mentor, somebody who's perhaps a few years ahead of you, who could kind of throw back some really valuable information to speed up your journey. It's good.
Yeah.
What skills then? What skills would you say are essential to be a really good VA?
Okay, so you need to know how to use a computer. I know that sounds, you might be thinking, correct. Did you really say that? But yes, you do need to know how to use a computer or a smart device. Anyway, I'm just being cheeky. I'm assuming that you know how to navigate the online space and a computer of any form. So, presuming that's the case, I would say definitely have an awareness and, you know, really take time to educate yourself on how to use some of the most popular tools and platforms out there that small businesses rely on in order to run their business as seamlessly as possible. So that would range from bookkeeping software, invoicing software, Zero, QuickBooks, Free Agent, really learn how to use, those tools, project management tools such as Asana, Trello, Monday.com. And then you've got like customer relationship management platform, which any small business owner could benefit from because they need that, especially if the work that they do is consultancy based or they run a clinic or private practice, because having a CRM means that they're able to better manage their clients. So, for example, business owner who runs a private practice would need to be able to acquire the signature of their clients digitally. They will also need to be able to send out email reminders about meetings and about invoices and other things. They will also need to send out proposals potentially. They will need to send out schedulers for sessions to be booked by their clients. So having a knowledge of, what are some systems and tools that are out there that would aid an individual to be able to do all of that. So constantly educating yourself. I would say networking is important because, Michael, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can.
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay. I will say networking is important because you want to be in the room of the big players. I'll just use that term. Big players in that people who are highly influential, whose mouth you want your name mentioned in, people who are well connected. Um, you cannot run a business on your own. And yeah, I think in order to be able to run a successful VA business, you need to associate with individuals who you're able to learn from, not just other VAs, which that is important. You want to be a part of a really good VA network. I'm so sorry. My phone is going off.
And
So definitely ensuring that you are surrounding yourself with individuals who are highly influential and who it will do your business a whole lot of good to be associated with. It's also important that you're a part of a virtual assistant community where you can actually learn skills that are relevant to you actually building your business as a virtual assistant.
you supported me and my business for well over a year. You often came onto the mic, and those who then supported me after you were always really engaging, really fun to actually work with and be supported by. I'm wondering, where does that energy and enthusiasm come from?
Okay. So that energy and enthusiasm purely comes from a desire to see the likes of clients like you win, believing in your vision, believing in the legacy that you want to leave behind. So our mission essentially is, coming alongside founders and helping them build a business empire and create a legacy they can be proud of. So most of the clients that we seek to work with, they're legacy builders. They're wanting to create impact that far reaches them in this moment, in time and space. And so for us, that's really the core of the drive that we have. It's like, okay, your vision is amazing. You know, for example, yourself, Michael, the work that you do bring about healing to the lives of many and transformation in a way that goes beyond you, beyond the client, because your client, by them engaging in therapy, at the end of it, providing that they engage the process well, they will be in a position to make such life um, altering changes that generations to come after them will feel the impact of that. Their children, their children's children, will be less dysfunctional than they are. And so, yeah, it's just wanting to be a part of that vision. That's where we get our drive.
It always was welcoming to come on, I think it was a Monday every 2 weeks on a Monday, and then meet with yourself, and then I think it was Michelle after you, and just be picked up after the weekend and just have a set of priorities that I needed to focus was welcoming, as opposed to being told off. And I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
are you trained to do that?
Over time, and I guess this is just my experience as a personal assistant, as a secretary, being the right hand lady for heads of services, consultants, senior management. And essentially, to you learn to understand what your person needs, how they need you to show up. You take time to pay attention to that. Um, because you're the person who, in a traditional sort of setting, I would be the person working the closest to them, like all the time. I'm just there, you know. But and
Yeah, I hear that.
so there's a lot of, emotional regulation that you have to do without even using your words to help the person in their role. As much as they're in the senior position, they really rely on you to do that. And so I would say that experience that I have, plus the fact that the team also has experience working within secretarial capacities, um, we're able to really just hone in on that. And that's what really helps us to show up in that way. Yeah.
And I long hope that your business continues. But in the offset that it does not, what could you see yourself doing next?
It's interesting because I have quite a few business ideas that I'm wanting to. It's interesting because I never would have envisaged myself to be an entrepreneur when I was like 25 years old. And now it's like, I don't know. It's almost as if the world of entrepreneurship really speaks to me as a person because, and especially because I've made this business last as long as it has, it's really demonstrated to me that I am capable of achieving anything that I put my mind to. And so I say that to say I have a few other business ideas that I'm looking to explore within the next within the next few months, actually. And so if this business doesn't work out, then I have hopefully another business or two in the pipeline that is yet to emerge. So we will see. I strongly believe in diversifying your income and again, creating generational wealth where possible and making your money work for you where you can. So I'm looking into things such as investing and all of that stuff and really educating myself. And goes back to what I was saying around associating yourself with individuals who are where you want to be. I mean, I've come across 34, 35-year-olds like myself, Black British entrepreneurs who, I mean, they're doing so well, so well. And I'm thinking, we're the same age. I'm like, correct. What are you doing? Like, girl, you need to get yourself in order. You're intelligent enough, you're smart enough, you're motivated enough, you're a people person, people love you, come on. So I've given myself that kick up the backside, and here I am. I'm ready to like experiment and explore other business ideas.
Amazing. Amazing. Could you tell us what an ideal week looks like for you?
So an ideal week for me is where I have no more than 4 meetings in the entire week. Also, where I have my Tuesdays blocked out. So my Tuesday is my non-meeting days, but sometimes I feel pressed into a corner to schedule meetings on that day. So an ideal week would be not having any meetings on a Tuesday. So all my meetings would be primarily on a Monday and on a Wednesday. And I would say where there isn't any complaints from any of our clients, which rarely happens. But yeah, ideally, where the team is functioning as they should, everyone has all the information that they need, everybody knows what they're doing. And so there's less pressure on me to have to problem solve. And yeah, no problem solving. I just want to just go through my week, focusing on the actions that are in my inbox as a result of emails that has come through, have 2 or 3 meetings here and there, and a few discovery calls, and being available for my team if they need me, and that's it. Why did you laugh when I said no problem solving? You're on mute, Michael.
Sometimes the space button releases me from being on mute, and sometimes it
Oh,
does not. This is one of those moments where it did not. Um, why did I laugh? I just, I was just imagining what it would be like for you to then problem solve. Are you then supporting your team in overcoming some of their challenges? That's where my mind went.
that's what it is. That's exactly where it is,
Yeah,
where it would be.
yeah.
Yeah. Because the thing is, in addition to having the team to support, I also have clients who I work with myself. And so, yeah, it's just added pressure that I can do with that. But I know that it's a part of the parcel of running the business. I need to be able to show up as a strong, confident leader that my team can look to and rely on. That's really important that they have that confidence in me. So,
I've noticed over the past year and a bit, you are doing a number of not lives, but LinkedIn video presentations of challenges that perhaps your team or you are overcoming. So you're
mm-hmm.
kind of providing advice real time about what it's like to work with a VA. Where did that idea come from?
Thank you so much for asking that question. That's actually one of my niche area in terms of marketing, because what I find is that um, everyone pretty much know about virtual assistants, right? But what I find is an issue is knowing how best to navigate the relationship with a virtual assistant or with a remote team. And so for me, I actually enjoy and find not only do I find it necessary, but I enjoy providing insight and recommendations to business owners who are already working with a VA or who's considering working with a VA or a remote team on how to get the most out of their relationship with their virtual assistant, because you want there to be synergy, you want a fruitful relationship, a thriving relationship with your virtual assistant. And sometimes, just like acquiring other skills in learning how to be a business owner, learning how to delegate, learning how to manage a team is another skill that a lot of individuals don't have when they come into business, when they decide to start a business. And so I find that the expectations don't always align for the client and the VA. And so you just find that there's a breakdown in relationship, and which isn't pleasant for either the virtual assistant or the business owner. And so, yeah, I actually like providing advice and recommendations about how to save time and accelerate your growth with the support of a virtual assistant. So, getting the most out of your VA.
How do people find you? They've never heard of VA or virtual correct VA services. How do people get to then work with you?
So, you can find me on LinkedIn, which is where I live as of late. That's my new address. So, and that's Karette Trottman. So, essentially, my first name and my last name, which I'm sure will be in the description area of this podcast, as well as a link directly to my LinkedIn profile. So, that's where you will find me. You can always send me a DM, send me a message, say hi, Karette. And yeah, if ever you want to just to connect, you don't necessarily have to be in need of a virtual assistant per se. I love, forming new connections, learning more about other people so that I can, better serve my network. So, for example, how can I connect the people in my network better with each other? Because sometimes in a person connecting with me, it may not be that we would necessarily ever work together, but that doesn't mean that we can't be a blessing to each other in other ways. That's my outlook anyway.
That's a really refreshing outlook to business and then supporting others, whether it's you doing that supporting or them finding somebody else through your network, getting some degree of additional benefit to knowing you and be connected to you. I think that's really useful.
It's interesting because I have multiple individuals on LinkedIn who they've never used my service, but if ever they need something, they're like, Karette, do you know of a website developer? Karette, do you know of a copywriter? And I can always connect them with someone if that's not our area of expertise. So, and that brings me joy, so.
Do you have any questions for me?
So this season of business that you're currently in, what are you enjoying the most?
Taking somebody from a place of uncertainty and confusion and some degree of chaos as a result of what they might be traveling through in terms of mental illness, and supporting them to just right themselves, where they then have a better perspective on what life could look like once they are, I wouldn't say healed, but they've begun to resolve some of their challenges. Really enjoy that as a therapist. It's the thing that I look forward to the most. It's not necessarily them coming to the end of their work with me, but just them recognizing that they can manage or that they can cope with all of life's challenges. That always feels good. I look forward
I
to
love.
that.
See, it's almost as if seeing the light come on for that individual, so they can actually see their way out. They haven't reached the end, but they can actually see, whereas before they couldn't see at all. Yeah. Okay. I've got one last question. Do you see yourself serving people the way that you do, the way that you currently do, and you have done for all these years for the rest of your life? Or do you see yourself doing anything else?
um, yes, until I leave this mortal coil, yes. I'd love to be doing what I am currently doing. I think then doing more. Um, I'm just trying to compose a piece about Kendrick Lamar and his wonderful Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. For me, this is what I would like to do. He's composed an album where he is sharing ideas of not just therapy, but of healing. And not just healing himself, but also healing future generations of those who would then follow, whether it's his children or his cousins, his nephews, etc. And I really like that concept of being able to put something into the world that people can freely access or pay a small amount of money and then get heaps of reward, not just for themselves, but for many others. So, I've got a book in the pipeline that I'm very close to finishing. I can't wait to give out to the world so that even if people have never met me, they might be able to then receive something of worth. I write blogs on a regular basis. For me, they are healing for me as the writer, but I feel that they could be potentially informative, entertaining, and partially healing for those who then go on and read them too. So, yeah. So, writing, counseling, psychotherapy, podcasting, you name it. Yes, I see this as being just part of me.
That's beautiful because you can see the legacy, the desire to leave a lasting legacy in all of that, which goes back to what I mentioned before, which is why you were sort of like an ideal client avatar for us for the moment for the time that we work together, because of the heart behind what you do and just the heart that you have for people.
Thank you. It's very kind of you to say. I
You're
have
welcome.
maybe three more questions for you. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years' time?
I see myself. Can I just say how I see myself? Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer.
No.
I see myself owning multiple properties.
Mm.
Ideally, two of those properties need to be in Jamaica. I see myself spending the majority of um, the year in Jamaica. And I see myself having at least two other very successful businesses um, with a small international team.
Wow.
And functioning as a CEO. So really being that chief and just having a team that's really helping me propel my vision forward.
Mm. Mm.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I think for the two others that I was supportive through your organization with Jamila and Michelle, it was Jamila and
Mhm.
Michelle,
Yes.
they were really good advocates for not only what you were doing and how you had set things up, but they believed in you. So I'm wondering how you've been able to pass that message forward. I mean, it's your name on the head of the
Mm.
company, but they believed in it and they worked for you under that. How were you able to kind of transmit that idea across to them?
Okay. Let me plug in my charger before I answer that question. Oh my word, Michael.
It's it's it's
I'm not
all
a cookie
happening.
cutter.
It's all
I
happening.
know I'm not a cookie cutter podcast.
It's
Um,
absolutely fine.
but you know what? I love watching podcast recordings like this one that we're having now. Because
It's real.
it's
It's
just
real.
it's real.
It's real.
Okay, so for me, I spent a lot of time stressing the vision of virtual Karette VA services to my team. But then there's also the practical side of that, such
Mm,
as really having strong systems and processes in place to ensure that we're showing up in a uniform way, that we all show up the same. Of course, we have our unique personalities, experiences, etc. But that the vision and ultimate goal in terms of how clients are to feel, that is uniform across the team.
mm, mm.
That in everything that I do.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Hmm. This is one that I'm finding really challenging as a concept. So I'll say it, and for whoever then listens to it, might be something that they are also thinking about. With AI growth threatening most people's job roles, what are your thoughts about AI?
So my thoughts are mixed. I do think that it's quite unfortunate that um, low level skilled individuals, as some would describe persons who are losing their jobs, that they're having that sort of experience.
Mm,
However, I do think that there is a great opportunity that AI does present. And I think in order to leverage that and to jump on that bandwagon and not be left behind, especially um, a service based business. For us, for example, we need to learn how to utilize AI to aid in further efficiency for our clients and not see AI as the enemy, because the individuals who are being replaced in some extent are people who are highly skilled, but they aren't equipped in using AI to further advance their skill and to demonstrate that they can be an additional value to their target customer. So for us now, we're going through the transition where we're looking at and evaluating, okay, how can we utilize AI? One, to be more efficient as a team internally, but two, to expedite efficiency in the day-to-day operations of the clients that we work with. How can we demonstrate to a business? So if a business come to us and say, okay, we're looking for, we want remote support and we use a lot of AI in how we run the business. Have you got experiences using any form of AI? We need to be able to say yes, even if it's not the same tools and platforms or using AI in the same way per se, but the skills need to be transferable. The knowledge needs to be there and the awareness needs to be there. Yeah, so we've already started using AI when it comes to providing social media management support to our clients. So when it comes to video editing, we use AI um, built-in software for that to help us a lot, which it does, especially when it comes to turning long-form content into short-form content for our clients. And so yeah, that's my input on that.
That's really impressive in that you are forward facing this potential threat, not that it is a threat, but you've kind of embraced it and brought
Yeah,
it into how you are looking to address future client needs.
yeah.
That's
Because
excellent.
whether or not we want to admit it, that's the direction that the world is going in. And so it's either you equip yourself and ensure that you remain to be a valuable asset, or you remain stagnant and be left behind, unfortunately.
Hmm. I think those are wise words.
Yeah.
Two more questions.
Go
Uh,
on.
do you outsource any aspect of your business life?
I do. I outsource my own social media management engagement. I cannot manage it. It's too much. It's too much. So, as in the business of virtual Karette VA services, there's an element of the social media that I do outsource. So, when it comes to engagement, building community, I have some help with that, and content creation as well. And so, yeah, I also outsource the blog as well for the business. We have a blog section on the website, so we outsource our blogs. And yeah, those are the two main things I'd say.
That's
Hmm.
great. It's useful to hear this actually, in that it's you, but there are parts of you that you kind of leave to others to manage or support you with. Really useful, helpful. Thank you.
You're
La-
welcome.
Last question then. How do you unwind after a busy day, week?
Oh my word. After I shut down my laptop, I collapse in my bed. So I collapse in my bed and just lie there for a little while. But essentially, I try to do a lot of reading because, our mind is constantly bombarded with screens, yeah, in whatever shape or form. Our laptop, as we are now, our phones, So for me, it's important that I read books, actual books. So reading, also listening to podcasts as well. That's really helpful for me. And I'd say, yeah, those are and going to the gym. How could I forget that? Because I'm currently on a fitness journey. So going to the gym, I absolutely love going to the gym. People might think, how can you relax by going to the gym? That's additional work. Um, are you one of those people, Michael? No. But yeah, I love going to the gym. So at least 4 days a week, I go to the gym. And that actually relaxes me and unwinds me. All that build up cortisol from sitting in front of my screen. Listen, people think the person who is stationary, who appears not to be doing much, is exerting the most brain power. And so at
Mm,
the end of the day, I'm exhausted.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Mm, mm. Correct. We are at the end. You've blazed through all of the questions that I had to ask. I've slipped in a few additional, and you've just done really, really well. Just in terms of providing us with an insight as to who you are, how you came to be in this business, supporting others, your raison d'etre for then supporting many different types of businesses do the thing that they do better and facing the future threat of AI. This has been a really good in conversation with. Thank you. Thank you for taking part.
No, thank you, Michael. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoy all the conversations that we have. You're very easy to talk to, and I really hope that I would say your audience actually, enjoy this conversation and subscribe to the podcast because you have loads of amazing guests. Yeah, you do have loads of amazing guests. And there is so much to learn. There's so much value. And I think one of the things that I enjoy about our conversation is that, you know, people are able to find themselves in our conversations, or just also the conversations that you have with other people from the other episodes that I've seen. People, you can find yourself in that conversation, and there is at least one thing that you can resonate with, which I find is always a blessing. And so thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. This has been great. Thank you very much for agreeing to do this.
You're welcome.
And I look forward to speaking with you, perhaps even working with you in the future.
Likewise.
Thank you, Grant.
Thank you.
Bye.